This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Drinking with... Well, I don't know what just happened with my voice there. Wow.
Okay. That was so enthusiastic.
That was very like
morning newscaster voice there.
Yeah. Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the literary briefs and we've already drinking edition. I'm your host, Erica Lance. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. We would appreciate it. Our sponsor today is Skunk Brothers Spirits, coupon code DWA10. Please check them out. They're amazing. I was about to talk about what I was drinking without introducing anyone else. So go team. I'm doing so great this afternoon. Okay. My co-host today is the fantastical CR Rice, and our guest today that has the most magnificent hair that somehow perfectly complements her shirt. So if you are not watching YouTube, you should absolutely check it out because it is beautiful. Is Meredith Stoddard. Woo! So welcome.
I'm so happy to be here.
All right, we are so happy to have you. Okay, so out of my Drinking with Authors swag, I am drinking what? Yes, I'm drinking gin and tonic. I'm not doing so great anymore. I put way too much gin in my gin and tonic. It's fine. I'm super pretty today. So it's gin and tonic, but I put pomegranate and lime. I had to remember.
Very
yes,
fancy.
pomegranate and lime juice. It's pretty nice. It's nice. It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's kind of okay. CR, what are you drinking?
So I just had to refill mine off of my local stuff right here. So it's actually super boring. It's just vodka and the green tea. So it's our pestilence drink. It's not as fancy as last time.
It had, yeah, it was much fancier last time. Okay, Meredith, you're good. Whoop, whoop, we're giving some props to where you're from. Let's do it.
I am drinking a Chamberson from Monroe Bay Winery in Virginia, in Colonial Beach, Virginia. So I like Virginia wines. This is a nice fruity red that's got some notes of blackberry and pear.
Ooh, notes of blackberry and pear. We didn't have that last time. Okay. We are ready for our rapid fire questions, my friend.
All right.
So the first rapid fire question is, what is your favorite book of all time?
Yeah, that's super hard to pick one. But I'm gonna have to go with the last book in Dorothy Dunnett's Chronicles of Lyman series, which I think the last book is Checkmate. And it just brings together kind of all of these very disparate plot lines from the previous 5 books, and it's just great.
Very cool.
Dorothy Dennett is NPR did a report on her a while back where she's like, that's like all the authors that you really love this author, and she is one that you catch little references to. I caught one on a character in House of the Dragon the other night. It was named Lymond. And because I know George R.R. Martin has read this series, Diana Gabaldon has read this series, like just all your favorite authors have read the Chronicles of Lymond, and it's just a wonderful series. So.
Very cool. What about your least favorite?
Oh, wow. I spent a long time in the corporate world writing training manuals about how to sell professional tax preparation software. So I'd pretty much say any of that.
I would have to agree with you. Yes.
I think it's a universal agreement on that one.
I've written many employee handbooks. Trust me. There's some things you can't make fun, no matter how brilliant you are at doing that.
Yeah, it's true.
So okay, Chelsea, you go next. I'm losing my brain cells for some reason.
Okay, so mine are super random. If you could be any mythological creature, what would you be?
Wow. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if they count as creatures, but I think I could be one of the muses.
Yeah, that's Greek mythology. That I think that counts.
No, it totally counts. Which one would you be though?
Oh no, I don't know about that. Now getting too
That's
specific.
crossing a line. That's too much.
Yeah, or one of the fates, whichever the one is that spins
Ooh.
the thread.
I think I'd rather the one that snips the thread. You want to be death?
Oh, spins the thread.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's not too bad. I was gonna say, that one's super dark. You went from amused to death. Those are two very.
I actually have a spinning wheel and I spin threads sometimes. So
That's
Very
a
nice.
hobby you have, Rumpelstiltskin? What is?
I was about to say, does it turn to gold?
it does not. But it turns into yarn, which is nice and fun to knit with.
Very true. Okay. If you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why?
Scotland. That's the quick answer to all of it.
Have you been to Scotland?
I have. I went to research the series. But yeah, I just love it. Everybody there, every Scottish person that we met there was nice and welcoming and and not in like a cheesy way, like you're going to a resort place where tourism is important, so they're really nice to you. But like
Right.
we're nice folks and we're gonna welcome you and come sit down with us in the pub and have a whiskey and let's chat kind of way.
That had to be really cool. How long were you there for?
Sadly, only a week. It was a quick sort of, my kids are off on spring break, so I can leave them with their grandparents and, let's go do this kind of time. And it was, but I was going for book research. So I dragged my husband to some weird places like the grocery store and a park bench in Inverness and stuff like that. So
Everybody has different things they want to see.
that's
you know.
right. That's right. But I was like, my characters are going to live here, so I should see what that looks like.
No, that's very
nice.
cool. That absolutely using all my words helps. I've been drinking Icelandic whiskey for a week and a half and I was fine. And now I'm like one thing of gin. Woo, go team.
I have not tried whiskey from Iceland.
So their
Cool thing.
whiskey, which is the whiskey's named Floki whiskey,
Of course.
which I love. And
Of course.
their whiskey is actually very, very smooth. And I didn't have any kind of hangover. Not that I drink a lot to hangover, but sometimes if you drink a lot, you wake up with a hangover, or you wake up less.
That happened on that trip to Scotland.
Yes. And they have this liqueur that is made of black licorice that they, and the ska,
Oh.
it's very, very Viking. And I was in a Viking restaurant where they were serving horse. So that's something you learn about Iceland is they mainly, like, we can go, oh my gosh, but they're these little that's what's on the island are horses and sheep and stuff. And that's what they eat. So if you go to a restaurant and look at the menu, it'll say steak, but it'll say horse meat next to it.
Great.
Yeah.
We have,
No, see, Corey had to trick me into eating like an actual gyro, not a chicken one. And he told me it was special chicken. And it was fucking lamb. And I was traumatized. And I should have known when they started laughing as soon as I started eating. But I was like, this chicken's delicious. They must season it differently. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't even eat sheep.
Yeah, well, you'd have a problem in Iceland because that's what it's not the only thing that's there, but also all the restaurants open up at 11 a.m. See, this is something you would need to know if you're writing about Iceland. There aren't really breakfast restaurants. That's not a thing there.
Oh no.
So you couldn't write, I went to Iceland and went to breakfast at 8 a.m. because you're by yourself on that, my friend, if you're doing that.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of why I had to go to Scotland that time, because apart from just the general desire to go to Scotland, is that there are things that no amount of like Google Earth or research is going to tell you. Like, nobody tells you that the riverbank between Inverness Castle and the actual river is teeming with rabbits, like little rabbits just hopping around all over the place, or what heather smells like when it burns, or what gorse smells like, which nobody tells you that, but it smells like coconut, which is very strange.
What is
Very
gorse?
Yeah. So, you know, there's just things that you don't notice, you know, that people don't blog about or talk about, and you have to experience it to
Well,
be
that
able-
not everybody's walking around in a kilt, for instance.
Definitely not.
What?
And not everybody speaks Gaelic either, even though there's a lot of signage in Gaelic. Even if you're in like areas where people do speak Gaelic, like Lewis and Skye and the Hebrides and stuff like that, if they don't know you, they're probably not going to speak Gaelic to you, because they just don't do it to strangers. Because for a long time in Scotland, there was a stigma attached to it. You know, it sort of meant that you were a hick, and, you know, country, because you were from the Hebrides or wherever, and you spoke the old language that nobody is allowed to speak anymore.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
Okay, CR, next question.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how I can get 4 horsemen to write off an adventure for me. Let's see.
As soon as we figure out interdimensional travel, you let me know. Like, as soon as that's
Okay.
necessary.
Okay, what is the #1 thing on your bucket list now? Because you've been to Scotland, so that can't be on there.
I would really love to go to Spain. Yeah, that's the one other language that I speak is Spanish, and there's just so many interesting and creative things happening in Spain. I would love to visit.
Okay.
Very cool.
All
What
right.
about what is one of your writing Achilles heels that your editors are like, hey, you need to stop doing this thing?
Oh, just, I think all of us use just way too much. And yeah, smiling. My characters smile and shrug a lot. I have to come up with better directions. That's in the first draft, of course.
But like, if you think about it, that's what people do all the time.
Well,
Like, people are constantly smiling and shrugging. Like, that's what you do. They're just like, people don't do that. I'm like, dude, I smile when I'm uncomfortable, when I don't know what to do, if somebody's staring at me too long. Like, it's a self-defense thing. If you smile, people are like, oh, okay.
It is, but when it's in writing, so it's very, I'm going to say this because I started listening to Court of Thorn and Roses. A friend of mine was like, you need to listen to that series. You need to read that series. She was telling me a character she thought I would like in it. And I'm listening to it. And one of the things, I think it's great, but one of the things I noticed is when an author repeats something that maybe is not as evident because it's like a few pages before, but you're listening to it and I'm flustered, and then I'm still flustered, and I'm got more flustered, and it just is like, you're like, oh my God, stop saying
You're flustered.
that. So I shrugged, great, then move on with whatever else. Even if you re-shrugged a couple times like we would, don't mention that you're re-shrugging, right? Like, if you're shrugging in answer to a question, fine, but I that sort of thing, I'm now in audiobooks. Authors out there, pay attention. In audiobooks, it can be way more disastrous for you because it takes away from your thing. Like,
one of my I had to edit out last time because my Dermot, the sort of hero in my series, is very tall, and he's constantly like folding himself into chairs or cars because he is tall. And but you can only say that so many times, and I had a beta reader call that out last time, and I was like, yeah, okay, I should definitely rephrase that. So yeah, I mean, we all have that, but you know, people have tics also. People have these things that we do, you know, like I twirl my hair when I'm thinking, and you know, other people tap their fingers, or you know, we all have those things. We just can't make it too obvious or too much.
well, you just can't repeat it so much because it's different visually seeing it. But if you sat the entire conversation just doing this, then that's annoying, and it draws the attention away to you're just doing this the entire, versus you did it once, we're having conversation, and then you do it again at another time, then that's different than she was twirling her hair and the hair kept twirling, and then around her finger was the hair, and you're like, you're still saying hair twirling just 50 different ways. What are you doing? Okay. What is one of your favorite tropes?
It's gonna sound really terrible because it's funny, but I have such a weakness for the misunderstood heroine trope. Like, he thinks that she's something she's not. And, you know, in the end, of course, he comes to the realization that it's too late because he's already scared her off or, you know, made her feel bad or whatever. And then he has to go apologize and stuff like that. Like, I'm a sucker for that sort of misunderstood heroine trope.
Very cool. What trope do you absolutely hate?
Anything involving sexual harassment. Like, I don't know. And and another huge thing, I cannot abide a character that tolerates emotional abuse for more than like 1 or 2 acts. Like, I just can't do it. I can't tolerate it. I will put a book down. I read Paulina Simon's The Bronze Horseman, which so many of my friends just raved about. And I know it's a series, but I've never picked up the next book because the main character just gets treated like dirt the whole time. Like, her family is so emotionally abusive, and people just crap on her for the entire book. And I kept waiting, like I kept reading, waiting for her to stand up for herself, and she just never did. And at the end, of course, she like forgives all these people, and I'm like, no. No. Why would you do this? Why would you let people treat you like that? So yeah, that's a thing that I cannot stand in a book.
No, that makes sense. Okay, Chelsea.
If you found $1 million in the middle of nowhere, what are you doing with it?
I am advertising the fuck out of my books.
That was the most honest response I have ever heard. Everybody's like, I drop it off at a police station, find the rightful owner. I'm like, oh yeah, when I find $1 million in the middle of nowhere, police station.
I mean, I might try to find an owner, like stand around and be like, hey, did somebody drop this? But barring that.
Hello, trees. Does this belong to you?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, barring that,
Exactly.
I would, because I feel like that's one thing that I just have not had kind of the budget to do in any significant way. And yeah, so I would do that.
Okay. What is your favorite weird food combination?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know if it's weird, but like, I'm a Southern girl, so peanuts and well, I do Coke because I think Pepsi tastes like it's been swilled through ash.
The boiled peanuts.
Peanuts in Coke is
How do you have peanuts in Coke?
Oh my God, it's huge in the South. How have you not seen that yet, Erica? Oh my God, I gag so hard. They like stick it in actual Coke.
Don't gag, Chelsea. Cover your ears, earbuds.
Nice long bags of peanuts, and you just make a little funnel with your hand and pour it into the Coke bottle. And then you drink.
It used to be so bad. Yeah, and then they drink it. They eat the peanuts out of it and then they drink it. You want to talk about being traumatized from a young age? I moved from New Hampshire where people are normal. So, and like all of a sudden in class, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with their like soda? And they're just like popping. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah,
can't
I learned that from my dad.
It's huge. How have you not seen that yet, Erica?
I have never heard of that before, but
it's usually Pepsi, but I can't do Pepsi. So
I've seen people do it in like Mountain Dew or Code Red. Everybody's like, oh, it's not as good. I'm like, none of it's okay. Like, you guys are acting like this is okay. But yeah, they'll just school trips. Anytime we went on school trips, instead of having water bottles, that's what they had in the side of their bags. Like,
wow,
it was very traumatizing for my childhood.
That's not good.
I'll add it to the list for you to try, Erica. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Oh
no. Now I don't want to try that. Okay. What is your perfect writing time? Like, describe the scene, because you got your she shed, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But like, what makes it perfect?
Well, no interruptions for one thing. That's a big one. Because once you get you know, most writers will recognize that once you get in that flow, you do not want any kind of interruption, because that'll just yank your brain right out of that headspace. But yeah, just just like get my music going, get everything flowing.
What's your music? What's your music going on this? Is it different?
Whatever works for that, what I'm writing. So it could be, you know, and I don't even care if I like the music sometimes. There's a short story called Buddy that I wrote that I listened to like 90s country music and that I hated, but it fit the story, you know? So whatever puts me in that mindset and that mood for that story is what it is. So a lot of, in the case of the fantasy series, a lot of Scottish folk music, Appalachian folk music, stuff like that. For the new stuff, it's just a lot of American folk music and old-timey gospel music in the case of this other thing. So
interesting. Okay, Chelsea, take us home.
Oh gosh, this is so much stress for me.
How's
What
it
is
so,
something
I can make you eat peanuts and Pepsi if you want to go down that route.
No. Oh, I'm gonna need therapy.
sorry.
What is something on your I will never do this again list? Like your anti-bucket list?
My anti-bucket list. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's very little that I won't try. So
I probably never want to do again, I guess that's the question. It's like,
yeah, like
you can try it, but now you're like, I won't do that again.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. There's very little. I don't, you know, I mean, I'm one of those people who just tries not to live with too much regret. So
okay.
You know, there's not a lot. But I mean, there are things I don't tolerate, but I wouldn't say that there are things that I wouldn't do again.
I forgot one of my favorite questions. What is your favorite book to movie or TV show? Where do you think they did it well?
That's a great question. I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna get really granular because I'm an Outlander super fan. In the first season, the Garrison Commander is an episode that is brutal and
oh yeah, no, I just recently watched that.
Yeah. So a lot of Outlander
very intense.
like, oh, the wedding episode. And I'm like, you know what? No, the Garrison Commander, because that captured that evil, that sadism, that awfulness, and that brutality. It just captured it so well. And Tobias Menzies, you know, is an incredible actor who, after watching that, should scare the crap out of everybody. But yeah, but you believed it, you know. And I think anytime that he and Katrina Balfe are on screen together, they're just electric. So I'm one of those weird Outlander fans. I'm not that crazy about the, you know, Katrina and Sam Heughan combination, which is nice. They're lovely people. It's beautiful, whatever. But no, she and Tobias Menzies are just electric together.
The villains, I like it. What about one that you think they did an absolutely fucking terrible job of?
I hate to say it, but I really was not a huge fan of the Discovery of Witches adaptation. I feel like a lot of the nuance that's in the books was really lost in the TV series. I think it was just rushed and kind of ham-fisted. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that adaptation. And of course, there was not enough Gallaglass. There's never enough Gallaglass. I'm still waiting for the book all about Gallaglass because he's the best character in the whole series.
Very cool. Okay, Chelsea, did you come up with a question? Because you look like it.
I thought I nailed it. Oh, this is so. Let's see. What was one of the other weird ones we used to ask all the time?
I don't even know. You're talking to the wrong person. Now I've led this to a.
What is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Gosh, I don't know. I met some friends and I in college. I went to UNC Chapel Hill, and one day during exams, or shortly before exams, some friends and I got bored, and we said, "Hey, let's drive to Lizard Lake," because we'd never been there, and it's just a weird little town. And yeah, so we just piled in my car and drove to Lizard Lake, which was on the other side of Raleigh from where we were. And there was like one guy in the entire town that day. And this was before the like Lizard Lake towing TV show or anything. And yeah, it was just this one kind of redneck dude who was working at the auto body shop that's there, and there was also the town hall / gift shop and the radio station. And
Solid gathering.
yeah, and we made it there, and we were in the like gift shop with the guy who was running the auto body shop and the gift shop and whatever, and got caught in this really freak rainstorm and stuff. It was a weird time.
Wow,
It's just where are all the other guys? Like it's like a horror movie when you go and there's like only one person in the whole town and they just act like everything is perfectly fine, and it's like no.
Totally normal, not at all
Where are the
surreal.
rest of you?
Yeah. That sounds like something I would write.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could definitely have been just a weird short story about 4 crazy college girls who got like slaughtered by this one dude in Lizard Lake.
Who ended the entire town for some ungodly reason, but nobody's noticed. Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go, Erica.
Okay, I'm not even gonna follow that up because we just keep going off into a dark path here. So Meredith, it's shameless self-promotion time, my friend. Please tell people where and how to find your stuff.
It is meredithstoddard.com, meredithstoddard.com. I am also MR Stoddard on Instagram and TikTok, and M_art_Stoddard on Twitter. And yeah, that's MR, not Mr., but those are my initials. And yeah, and also on Bookish Road Trip. I am a tour guide. I'm the communications person on Bookish Road Trip. So or the town crier, as my friend Julie Valerie likes to call me.
I love that. That is awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
It's been so much fun.
Yes, it has been fantastic on the Drinking with Authors. I've been your host, Erica Lance. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't already done that, you should have hit those buttons already. Do it now. And then you should be super drunk with us. So you should do a review with us of how awesome we are with the drinking and the authors parts of this particular podcast.
We're not picky.
Yeah, how weird we can get these reviews to be. Anyway, but our sponsor is Skunk Brother Spirits, coupon code DWA10. Check them out. My co-host today has been the awesome CR Rice, and the absolutely majestic Meredith Stoddard has been our guest.
Look at that.
And we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.